Yes, half comment video, half response to Piro, I suppose. We'll just see how it all goes along here. But it's just very, people are just too stupid for this conversation. Way too stupid. Yeah. Oh dear, I didn't even see this. No, it's going to probably take forever. Piro. They keep bringing up Michelson Morley as if that has something to do with anything I'm talking about. I don't speculate that there's an ether. Newsflash. The fact they didn't find one is a plus on my side, retards. It's not a plus for relativity. Jesus. Alright, so this asshole defending the Ken Wheeler's ferrocell thing. Visual distortions, you don't think it's revealing anything to do with the mechanism? Are you blind? They invented a way to see the magnetic field. No, we had a way to see the magnetic field. It was called iron filings. And you try to downplay it as misleading and distortions. Well, frankly, it's completely inconsistent with a guy who actually did believe in your stupid ether, idiot. Maxwell. Maxwell would understand that those aren't the real field lines of magnets. Those are beautiful, perfect, sacred geometrical patterns, you fool. They should be one of those supercell devices in every classroom in the world. I think that's fine, as long as they explain why. Okay, it's not taking a picture of reality, it's showing you a distortion. You're fucktard. So, I guess I'll leave that one, but it's just, these arguments are just so vacuous. Alright. Why do you assume that gravity propagates at the speed of light? It's not an assumption. I mean, it's something that's been known for like 150 years or more. Even at the edge of Newton's time, they were speculating about it. And they even predicted the speed of light by just playing with Newton's math. And if they gave gravity a speed, that fixed the equations, you idiot. It made Mercury's orbit better. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was better. If you improve some sort of math by applying something like that, and the math comes out better, especially math that good, and you just make something good even better, then it's probably right, jackass. The only experiment, well, you say the only, that is claimed to have demonstrated light speed gravity relied on gravitational lensing. Well, again, I don't care about those experiments. The one that really matters is the fact that Einstein knew it. So fuck you, you're an idiot. Which you have clearly stated that you don't agree with in principle. That's right, I don't. Other than that, there's no evidence. Well, I just pointed out the evidence, so just lie some more. You already know the answer, but yeah, he picks and chooses what evidence. So again, I picked and choose the fact that they did this over 100 years ago, and you're saying I'm picking and choosing. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people who are trying to fix the bugs in Newton's math, and the biggest way to fix the bugs was to create a finite speed to gravity. You fucking idiots. So fuck you. Oh, and how ironic. You shut everyone else up. I don't shut everyone else up. And that's a fucking fact. Piro still posts on this board because he knows not to be too stupid. Alright? So the only people I don't pay any attention to are assholes who have nothing to say, make no scientific argument whatsoever, and are just rude little fucking gutless pricks like you. Yeah. Kind of like you do on your channel, deleting opposing views. No, you don't have an opposing view. All you have is an opposing opinion. There's no way to see any view that you have. Blocking people, right? Blocking people who are nothing but fucking trolls, nothing but rude assholes who put up nothing. It's their website to do what they wish. That wasn't the argument. The argument is they're physicists, for fuck's sake. And they're pretty much pussies. Alright, they don't want to have the argument. They don't like to see the argument. There was nobody imposing it on anybody. It's a message board. You can participate or not participate in any conversation you choose. There's like 500 conversations on it. There's no obligation for anybody to engage in a conversation they don't want to engage in. It's just pussy bullshit. Just like your channel. Again, so lie some more. Again, you're claiming a hypocrisy that doesn't exist. I didn't post anything rude on their message board. I didn't sit there and say, oh, what a bunch of dumb skanky cunts you fuckers are. You don't know shit about shit. I didn't say any of that fucking shit. You assholes say that kind of shit. Fuck you. The burden of proof is on you to the burden of proof is on you to be proven right. Yeah, well, the obligation to be proven right in theoretical physics is a little bit more complicated, jackass. Not for other people to pick through your garbage. Again, there's no obligation for anybody to pick through anything. They could ignore it. It's really easy to ignore it. And the fact that they censored it before people even had the choice to ignore it, okay, just shows that they're scared of something. Why would you pre-censor it? There's no controversy, there's no argument, there's no insults, nothing's happened, and yet they're preventing anything from possibly happening. And you're going to defend it, because this is how you would function. Obviously, that's how you would run the world, too. You would just censor anybody who doesn't agree with you, quite obviously, because that's what you're defending. To pick through your garbage and prove it wrong. Again, it wasn't any obligation. Nobody had any obligation to any such thing. So again, it's just a lie to say so. The whole solicitation was for somebody interested in having the conversation. Just one more crackpot. Is that what they're thinking? And there's thousands of you. Okay, so again, that's your judgment. So it's not judge a man based on the quality of his theory. It's just judge him on the fact that he doesn't agree with you. Yeah, fuck you. Alright, superior mind. Usually quite sensible. Yeah, the way they explain relativity is messed up, to say the least. It implies a lot of misleading things. I have witnessed professors actually lie about what can be concluded. The misinformation damages credibility. Biggest issue I have is a lot of people who teach it don't actually understand it correctly themselves. The math is applicable. The mechanisms are completely misunderstood. Yeah, I don't even know if the math can be claimed to be applicable. It's just an inversion of Einstein's stupid gravity well. So in a sense, how can I even consider that applicable? It depends on an infinite source, an infinite well. So again, the very idea that there's an inability to reach the speed of light is only a consequence of the fact that they just inverted the gravity well graft. What the hell's, how, that's not even, in my opinion, I don't even know why that's called a transformation. Inverting a chart isn't much of a mathematical feat, in my opinion. Alright, I understand this explanation in this video. Are you starting to tie up the conclusions? Yeah, I did. Apart from light having a speed greater than or less than, I cannot agree with this. Well, then you're too stupid. I don't think I'll bother reading this. I'm sorry, it's just goddamn stupid. The main evidence, okay, here's his Michelson-Morley crap. Oh, look at this, more bullshit from him. You know, I wanted to get to the other asshole. How far down is he now? Jesus, I gotta go through a bunch of stupid Piro comments. The main evidence is Michelson-Morley, obviously. Well, I don't even understand why it's obvious. Have you people looked at the Wikipedia page for Michelson-Morley? I should have it here somewhere. Let's see. Well, I think somewhere I saved it. Yeah, it's on the other computer, maybe. I guess so. Well, we'll pop over there real quick. Or hopefully somewhere near quick. Somewhere not too slow. Yeah, there it is. Michelson-Morley. Okay. So we'll open that. And, alright, so I thought, see, the experiment I was confusing with Michelson-Morley is this other guy, Davidson, or whatever the fuck his name was. Well, anyway. But, you know, look at this. This is 8 mirrors. I mean, this doesn't even make any sense. And then they have this extra one in here because they have to match the thickness of the glass, and who knows what that's causing. But I mean, look, the reflection has to go through these 8 mirrors and then back again. You know, I mean, and I don't know why this focusing mirror is different than this focusing mirror. That doesn't seem like a brilliant thing to have 2 different kinds of focusing mirrors. You know, so, and again, I don't understand why this is critical to anything. How does this prove anything? The absence of an ether. And the funny thing is this guy went on to work on redshift, and the point is well, what's, you know, you can have a phase change because you slowed light down, or you can have a phase change because you changed the frequency of the light. You know, I mean a phase change in the sense of you can have a interference change because you've changed the frequency of the light. And I mean, there's no detailing of any recognition of those 2 different interferences, quite different interferences. So I say bullshit to this bullshit. Too many moving parts, as stated before. Anyway, the light goes through various paths to expose it to different velocities, going different directions in 2 different paths before being recombined. I don't even know what that means. To show that relative to light there is no such velocity relative to light, you are at rest. To show that relative to light there is no such velocity relative to light, you are at rest. Yeah, right, okay, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. Not any sense at all. Alright, without doing the math, well, again, this bullshit, you can't tell us where we should look. Without doing the math, you can't tell us where we should look. You don't understand the principle, or why we wouldn't expect to see obvious effects everywhere you look. But you also deny the experiment with the sun's lensing has been done over and over, and even from space. Yeah, I deny it because there's no evidence of it. So show it to me. Show me the evidence of it being done from Earth successfully. That is, getting past the margin of error. And then show me where from space it's been done. Where's the Hubble images? I mean, he posted a link. You know, I pointed out how we don't get copies, like we don't get to see some pattern from 1985 and then a pattern from 2001 and then a pattern from 2010 from the same image of a piece of space. So he posted me a link to this stupid fucking telescopy page, and everything is like, I don't know, they're like 10-bit images, and all of them are completely obtusely labeled, and they're compressed 3 times. I mean, first you have to uncompress a zip, and then you have to uncompress an IZ or something, and then an F2. And you're like, what the fuck? Who's going to go through this trouble? Just to find out that, oh, it's the same image as the 1942 image, except that you called it a different trial name. I mean, what a crock of shit. Let's see. It's been over and over again from space, and instead you want to point the Hubble at the sun. Again, so that's a perfectly fantastic lie, which would destroy its detectors. Again, it's just a lie. An absolute lie. Why would you point it at the sun? You just have to point it in front of the sun. They're scientists. I'm sure they can point it right above the sun and be sure they're not going to, bounce into the sun. So again, just pretend they can't do it because they're scared of the sun. When I bet you they've already done it, and they know that, they didn't see anything. Math is involved in know how much to expect and where to look. Because the math is involved in know how much to expect and where to look. Well, that was a great sentence. Curious. I thought the waves need something to travel through to be waves. In other words, waves require a medium. Otherwise, they are something else. Well, again, the bent space doesn't need a medium, so why would anything else need a medium that's actually a medium? Right, they can have hardware that doesn't really exist. So that's the catch-22 of their bullshit. You know, you can have the vacuum cleaner with no motor and no exhaust, but it's still a vacuum cleaner. The experiment, if taken as evidence against the medium, causes a paradox of notions. I found an interesting flaw in the experiment regarding distance distortions, but this does not mean I will commit to any convention one way or the other as of yet. Well, that's kind of pussy. As I've already pointed out, it's not an argument against the medium, it's an argument against a non-relativistic medium. Oh, here we go. So you can have a medium as long as it's relativistic, okay, with its own rest frame. So its own rest frame. So you listen to Marble fuckhead? This is the asshole saying that you have a specific frame, and the frame means you're in bent frame. The EMF is the medium with the electromagnetic field. Ooh, it's just that you have no velocity relative to the EMF, and a relativistic medium always at rest with an inertial frame. So that explains absolutely nothing. Although time will dilate the way we expect with constant c in an absolute coordinate system, because matter is made of those force elements which move at c, which slows down event rates of matter, and this means that if measured how far I travel at the same time at double velocity, I will measure double distance because I waited double time due to having a clock and brain that runs at half its normal speed. Consequently, all frames will always measure the same speed for light. Again, measure them by what? Human perception? No, they won't. So again, you can just keep saying they will, and I'm saying no, they won't. I mean, even if you're fucktarded, you're going to know your ruler's broken, because everything else is going to be doing stuff based on the old ruler, and you're going to know that, hey, this isn't at all consistent. The light out there is moving much faster than the light in here. Also, frequency of light shifts to closer bits, higher frequency as we approach it, and further bits, lower frequency as we move away, even if it is a medium with propagation. So that's basically talking about redshift. So that's another thing, Marble asshole. Your stupid theory of bending the light and making it go forward doesn't work for, number one, it's too long a path, and number two, if you successfully navigate the path, you must have blue shifted the light, so you would know it was blue shifted. Anyway, even if it's a medium with propagation, the medium must remain at rest for this to be consistent, and if the medium distorts substantially from equilibrium or has its own inertial, I don't know if all this is necessary, but frame, i.e. motion, then I'm curious how we can reliably use any math for any cosmological predictions or notions. I don't deny other possibilities. I'm curious as to how EMF, electromagnetic field, is proposed to work with local independence as well as remain globally consistent in outcome. I'm curious as to why they believe what they do. Yes, well, you can't go into a well without popping out of the well, and you have to explain why you went in it and why you fell out of it. I mean, where the borders are. I personally currently suspect that since photons don't seem to have change but may affect change, and that loose evidence for efforts on magnetism exists, i.e. light from the sun doesn't affect our magnetic devices. That EMF may be a misrepresentation. I need more information, blah blah blah. Anyway, I don't think GR has math. General relativity has math? Question mark. You don't think GR has math? I don't think it has any math that means anything. Yes, yeah, that's pretty much correct. Yeah, no, I don't think it has math that means anything. An inverted gravity well isn't meaningful math, in my opinion. He thinks a reference frame is a box. Oh, see, Marble asshole, as I pointed out in my comment. I'm just saying, if you're saying time actually changes and that it's not merely the fact that the thing that has velocity has broken, changed, You're saying time changes. I'm saying the thing changes. Now, one of us is right and one of us is wrong. I'm saying there's no such thing as local time. Time is always ticking exactly the same as a passage of. That means as light perturbates or anything else happens, and you can't change that by slowing yourself down. You're not gaining more time. So what? You say there is no explanation from our side. There is. You can reject the model now, but you can't say they won't ever explain it. No, look, I draw it on a piece of paper, and your explanation is vacuous. You say an observer could see it differently. It's a simple experiment. I'm just asking you to explain how the fuck it can possibly happen. You're moving half the speed of light in a direction. You're claiming that even though this hole is moving 1/2 the speed of light, and this emitter is moving 1/2 the speed of light, that somehow you can shoot light from here, get it to here, and have it go through this hole. And I'm saying that's just preposterous. These 4 feet, it won't make it. This hole is going to get a foot, 2 feet away by the time the light gets to this hole. By the time the first photon shot gets to the hole is going to be 2 feet away. And so this idiot marble guy is saying that somehow the light goes this way. Well, if it goes that way, and again, it has a forward dimension, it's now blue shifted. And frankly, it's still a longer distance to get through the hole, and you can't account for that. The light can't sacrifice its speed. So the point is the observer sees the light go through the hole at the speed of light, not some other speed, retard. So I don't know why you can't understand that, but it's a laser beam, okay? It's not a light bulb, for fuck's sake. And even if it was a light bulb, then you'd have to explain that somebody sitting back here, somebody looking over backwards this way, wouldn't see any light because all the light was moving forward. Is that your frickin' theory? I'm just saying there's been no explanation of the paradox here. If it goes through the hole, the light has to be moving faster than the speed of light. And explain how that's not true. He hasn't explained it. All the things you're asking have answers from GR. So again, you claim an answer, you don't provide the answer. Fine. I think it's just bullshit. It's just bogus nonsense. You don't want to deal with the paradoxes. You just ignore them. I point out the paradox or the inconsistency between single slit interference and with water and light, and you try to just evade it. You try to pretend that it isn't a truth, that there is an inconsistency. I can calculate what you will see on the spaceship from here on Earth and what I'll see. I'm saying you can draw it on a piece of paper. I don't need a calculation. I want you to explain to me how the light going through the hole isn't moving faster than the speed of light because it has to move forward. The only way it can get to this goddamn hole is it has to move forward. And explain how it can do that. Liar. Jackass. Fucktard. This is not a solvable paradox. Your math does not solve the paradox. Shit, these people are just so fucking dumb. Alright. The limited speed of light creates different perspectives for observers. Again, this is just so stupid. There's no difference in perspective. There's none. The perspective is irrelevant. The difference is the person moving is affected by being a moving person. They're not seeing it right. For Piro to see a flash, again, I'll use the analogy. To see a flash, if I have a flashlight and I'm moving half the speed of light and I shine the flashlight ahead of me, for me to see the light move at the speed of light, I have to travel the difference. I have to make the half the speed of light equal the speed of light. That's the only way it can happen. I have to make the difference in our speed equal to the speed of light. That means I have to be going twice the speed of light in terms of what I'm actually doing through space. You can't understand because you're too fucking stupid. So the point is I would see that if I had a window, I'd be able to see the fact that I'm going twice as fast as I'm supposed to be going. And then I would know my perception is broken. That my ruler, when I put it towards the window, my ruler will show the old universe very different. And it'll show this as something else. And so I'll know there's a difference between these two worlds. The one out the window is going to be very different than the one inside. And the easy conclusion is that one's pretty reliable, so this one must be broken. Duh. Oh, man. Alright, observer, different positions. But that does not change what really actually is. Lorentz correctly described the illusion of relativity, but Einstein said the illusion was real because Einstein was autistic. Well, that's just too stupid. Yeah, well, like again, Lorentz is a character in all this, but he's another one of these, you know, wave theory ether almost kind of people. So what do you want me to say? You know, and again, this whole idea of you say, okay, I've predicted something, when, like I said, it's just an inversion of the gravity well. Light is at the speed of now. Oh, fuck. We can see pulsars flash as a light source spins. If light had speed and were not instant, then we would have rotating sprinkler effect. And with that lag, we would get no flash from the source. Well, that's exactly why it is a flash, you idiot. They're photons. You know, they're not strings of light. They're little blips of light shot out, idiot. It's too stupid. Alright, forms. Echo chambers is what I call them. Well, apparently that's what they've turned into. Nobody can argue anything. Don't argue, please. Just everybody talk about how much fun it is to go surf riding and such. You could try to post at an appropriate subreddit like Ask Science Discussion. Well, that doesn't sound very good. Ask? I don't want to ask. I want to challenge. So maybe I'll go find Challenge Science Discussion. Also, you gotta remember, on physics forums and everywhere else, they probably get a ton of pseudoscience loonies and just don't tolerate them. So again, that's the whole point. Well, what's the big deal? You can tolerate them long enough for them to reveal themselves for what they are. I mean, truthers, like I said, you know, this idiot talking about sprinklers and shit. He hasn't given this any real thought. So yeah, you can discount those people. Give them a chance to make their argument, and if they're talking shit, you can delete them. You can ban them. You can do whatever you want. The very fact that they pre-censored me, it was a fucking introduction statement, for fuck's sake. I was allowed to post for 2 fucking hours. Shit. And so you're just defending it, you cunt. They don't know you, and it's not personal. Well, I'm just saying, it's pretty fucking personal. I think one of the most important character traits you can have is an open-minded and mellow. Well, fuck you, alright? I don't really see this open-minded shit. So yeah, if you're going to have a discussion about the Holocaust, you should be open-minded and mellow. Nothing should mean anything. Nothing should be important. Fuck you, because then people don't feel like they're arguing. Well, again, if they don't want to argue, then don't argue. Have a message board where you just talk about how fun it is to eat chocolate, for fuck's sake. But don't pretend you're doing anything serious. Presenting your ideas with humility, you may get some people who will respond. Like I said, the whole point is I did present it that way. I gave people an opportunity to look or not look. I didn't say a whole bunch of stuff. I just posted a link to the introduction video so they could either watch it or not watch it. So fuck you and this backseat driving and defending of the crap, man. You just defend the censors, you fucking asswipes. I'm just so sick of you fucking little weaselly cunts who just every fucking time you gotta take the side of the fucking liars. Oh, see, Superior Mind was fortunately taking on some of this crap. This guy just lies. This fucking Marbles guy is getting to be a real irritant. So he accidentally lost a cot, and he said, I see grossly embarrassing statements at 1778999. You think I'm going to go look up all that shit, you jackass? Fuck you. You think you're that fucking important? I'm going to go jobbing through a video to see what the fuck you're sitting there referencing. You can't sit there and quote it in some way. I mean, what a douche. A reference frame is some sort of box that you're in. I don't know why that's crossed out now. A reference frame is not some box that you're in. Well, Puro thinks it is, jackass. There are no borders for it. Well, then, I guess, how does it work, then? All it is just a coordinate system that extends indefinitely. If that's all it was, then we wouldn't be having this argument, because then it couldn't possibly be changing time. This is something that applies to classical mechanics just as well as it does to relativity. Well, again, the argument here is about whether light travels in straight lines or not. And if it travels in a straight line at the speed of light, it's not getting through that fucking hole perpendicular on the spaceship. It ain't gonna fucking happen. And you're just evading the goddamn subject, you cunt. I already tried to communicate how light can get through the hole without any problems. But I'll try this one more time to be more explicitly. This isn't any more explicit, you cunt. And you say right here, at position 00, the ship shoots light upward. Well, I don't know where upward came from. I mean, I've been saying perpendicular and across the ship through this whole conversation. But it is skewed at an angle. So why is that? So you keep premising it with this skewed at an angle. What does that mean? So the light moves with velocity? A skewed velocity? That doesn't even mean anything. I mean, fuck you. Fuck you in this slop. You either draw a picture or just fuck the conversation. Go someplace else. Because I got no interest. You can't describe this in mathematical terms. You have to describe it in physical terms. You can use charts. You can use graphs, as I pointed out. Yeah, there's called vectors, okay? X, Y, Z vectors, you motherfucker. Alright? The light can't travel in more than one vector at a time without creating a problem. And the problem is called a hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is longer than any of the sides, you jackass. Which means that the C is now C plus, you stupid cunt. Let's see. Relativity has nothing to do with perception. Well, I don't know what that means. I mean, quite obviously, time dilation has something to do with perception, retard. It makes a statement about all possible conceivable experiments that you could do. Well, making a statement about all the possible experiments you can do at the speed, at half the speed of light, when we haven't even traveled anything near that. To even speculate about what human beings will do when they have velocity of, you know, 1,000,000 meters per second is really cunt-worthy. Do and could even think of doing, which at that point you might as rather call it about reality, but what do I know? Well, apparently you don't know shit if you think that, yes, a person moving, 1,000,000 meters per second isn't going to have any problem doing everything. Everything will just work out just fine. As for the evidence, there's an entire Wikipedia page test for special relativity, so there's so many experiments done, but somehow they got them all wrong since 1900. Well, again, and look what he does here. Obviously, it wouldn't make sense to go through all of them, but how about at least one experiment like Michelson-Morley again? How does Michelson-Morley prove anything? First, it's an experiment, again, where how do you know, again, what velocity the mirrors are imposing, plus even refracting through glass that's moving? You think that doesn't have any effect on the light. The fact that the glass is moving doesn't have anything to do with the refraction of the light, the refraction of the light through the glass. How do you know any of that shit? And again, what's the bottom line point? The point is Michelson-Morley doesn't prove anything. It certainly doesn't prove anything proving that somehow what? What does it prove? It's an ether experiment. What the fuck does it have to do with the speed of light, you shithead? Yes, the emitter and the receiver are both moving at that setup, but now if you rotate the device, there would have been time phase difference for the two light beams that are received if the usual classical theories are correct. What usual classical theory are you talking about? Now you're saying that ether is a classical theory. Newton didn't believe in it. You still haven't said that fair game for water interference pattern. You still haven't said what fair game for a water interference. Yes, I said it explicitly. Okay, I'm almost ready to block you. You fucking cunt. What I said was, you do the experiment with the same fucking waves. You do the two slit. You have consistent environmental. If you're trying to find out what variable affects something, then you have this. You keep all the other variables the same when you do experiments. You don't change one variable to try to force an outcome. Okay, that's cheating the experiment. That's like saying I'll do a control, but yeah, I'll give the guy the one side of the controlled experiment, I'll give them Twinkies and I'll give the other ones poison apples, and let's test the drug and see if it works. Yeah. Of course, all the ones who didn't get the drug or got the poison apple. So yeah, my drug's going to work really well because the people are going to have a smile on their face because they got Twinkies and they didn't get a poison apple. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't figure out how you fairly do experiments? That you don't change the conditions of the experiment? Because the interference pattern most strongly occurs for those frequencies where the pattern is most apparent in the case of light. Gee, what a coincidence. Well, again, it wouldn't work in the double slit experiment. So if you use the same frequency of water waves in the double slit experiment with water waves, you won't get the same pattern, jackass. Gee, what a fucking fact, asshole. So just keep up this bullshit. This fucking whatever this crap is. This reference to non-stated arguments. This is such a straw man argument when I explicitly described what a fair fucking experiment is. Yeah, not changing the variables in the experiment. That's called the fair experiment. Aha, it must have been very frustrating for you when you accidentally erased your first comment. There'll be no such thing as space-time. No such thing as space-time. Space is measured with a ruler and time is measured with a clock. Space isn't even measured with a ruler, technically. It's measured by the distance between objects. It is impossible to combine the two. It's stupid to combine the two. For clarity, it is proposed that the light is emitted from the emitter at an angle as a result of velocity. If this is so, is there a mechanism offered by which the angle is applied? Something which would be noticed. I suppose one could propose a deliberate offset. Well, it's going to be a hell of a more degrees than this. It's going to be, to go 2 feet over a 4 feet distance, it's a 45-degree angle. So yeah, it seems to me if my laser is a regular laser, and it has like let's say it has a 12-inch body because it's a good laser. Well, I think I would notice a 45-degree angle, and then I'd be able to say, hey, I must be moving really fucking goddamn fast because my laser's coming out pointy, crookedy. It's a silly argument. I mean, I've had to argue it 3 times now. I suppose one could propose a deliberate offset in emission angle to compensate if this were the case. Well, I offer the idea that, well, yeah, guess what? If my lasers, if I'm seeing it coming out sideways, I'm buying a new laser. Or I'm moving it so it comes out straight, perpendicular. That's the setup of the experiment. In other words, how do they know or assume light would not initialize at an angle emitter it's facing? For example, if it were a laser, the side of the laser would interfere with the direction before it could be emitted. Would the exact exit point be determined? Well, that's another thing. Most lasers have a tube. Yeah, I want to get to the tube stuff, but we're just not going to get there, I guess, in this video. But most of them have a thing on the end. So it's like if the beam came out crooked, it would never get out of the laser. You fucking idiot. Okay, I'm not very good at replying to comments, but I'll try this time. It is proposed that the light is emitted from the emitter at an angle as a result of velocity. First off, yes. Oh, well, that's a great answer. If so, the momentum. Okay, here's a heuristic reasoning for why I wouldn't be surprised that something would be skewed. By Maxwell's equations, an accelerating vibrating charge would give off electromagnetic radiation. But now if you're on a spaceship, it would be harder for the charge to get to the front of the spaceship than it would be for it to go back, so the vibration is now changed. Well, no. I mean, look, Maxwell is talking about magnetism. That moves the same speed as light, you stupid fucktard. I don't know the details beyond this. Well, fuck you. I mean, all this bullshit for that kind of lame crap. I'm not reading all this crap. Fuck it. I'll see. I see that is actually compatible with draft science in that light is like a release of momentum in a direction. I would expect that a negligibly infinitesimal amount of mass is lost on light release. So blah blah blah. Still a result of the expected p sum along resulting angle vector velocity. I don't know. I'd imagine that a non-directing source like a diffuse surface would scatter the light in all directions, which is why it can still be objects that would be expected to see them a long time ago. I don't even know. I think incoming photons being collections of a huge sphere that is expanding, which tells us how the tiny must be still so close together and far distance. I don't know what all. I don't know where they went. I don't know how he went this far. I'll read a little bit. Therefore, the speed of the ship must increase when you release light upward. Like that, but that I think is absurd. Yeah, I think it is. You can't make yourself go faster by shooting light up. I still don't even understand. Well, why would I even consider the laser beam making any contribution to a spaceship moving half the speed of light? In my scenario, so everything would be consistent. The only weakness in my argument is whether mass is lost on emission, but I can try to dig something up to support that. I don't see how this can be. This is ludicrous. Your premise is idiotic. The distance can't be overcome. The fact is that when the light is emitted, okay, the future is where the hole is going to be. It's going to be there. And there's no way it can get there without traveling a longer distance. This d it is going to be less than this d. There's just no way to get around that. It's a longer distance. If light stays at the speed of light, it doesn't get to the hole. If it goes the speed of light, then it's traveling faster than the speed of light when it leaves. There's no way around it. And there's no fucking way. Okay, it happens. It just doesn't happen. Light goes straight. So when the first wave packet leaves, and then the second wave packet leaves, and the third wave packet leaves, and the fourth wave packet leaves, because the emitter's moving, the target's likewise moving, and moving, and moving. And the end condition's going to be here. And so when the first one left, okay, then the second one left, so there's two arrows. That one has one. Then we add this one, so we add one to this, and we add one to that, and then this one, so then we add one, and we add one, and then we add one. The light has to hit here, not here. There's no choice. Fucking retard. Alright. How can you accept the speed of light as universal maximum speed? Because if there was any alternative, they would be exploiting it, jackass. Don't you find it strange that something simple and common as light do max speed all the time, always? Well, the point is, if it didn't, if there was such a thing as instantaneous speed, then there wouldn't be a universe, idiot. No time required, then. Can you please repost your comment in understandable English? Well, probably not. Not sure I can, but I find it hard to believe that the speed of light is the max speed in the whole universe. So he just repeats himself. Let's see what this is. Superior mind. Everywhere where it pertains to us, so far as all instruments detect the speed of force or causality, as some now call it, always happens at one speed. One could speculate that this could be an emergent result of equilibrium of some kind, some unknown mechanism of averages at an incredible small scale. Even at the smallest scales we could interact with, the average would always be a constant. Well, the point is, if it's, you could argue that instantaneous is itself almost like an infinity. You can't cross distance instantaneously because then you're in two places at one time. So it's a violation of logic in a sense to say that you could be something and then be something else and something else and something else all at the same time. So it just seems logical to say if there's going to be a universe of somethings, there would have to be time, because then there would be a universe of not just something, but I mean it would just be completely clogged by being everything, because everything, would be everywhere, would be you would be in more than one place at one time, and you can't do that. I mean, logically, it just creates a paradox of sorts. A universe of instantaneous action, I don't think would be possible. Relativity is made up crap and nothing to support it. Well, I wouldn't go that far. There's some meager evidence, but I mean, they won't concede even that it's weak evidence, which is just so bad. Alright, okay, we already did that. This cunt doesn't align with his theory. Yeah, well, whatever. You're just such liars. Despicable distorters of substance and meaning. I just can't believe how many times Michelson and Morley has come up, as if it proves something meaningful, especially relevant to me. I'm not the one with the wave theory. I don't need a goddamn medium. I got no use for one. Anyway, how much time do I got? 46. Yeah, well, maybe I can do the Piro video really quick. Ha ha. Yeah, that was a little bit funny. A little bit. Alright, it's just really quick on this stupid tube thing. So, it's not a very long video, and he's redundant, so I won't even play what he says in the beginning here. Well, I'll play what he says in the beginning because it's just rude. Classically.
Gary doesn't understand physical sciences at all. So ignorant in the ways and rules. And I know that Hythloday tried to tell him this in another...
Yeah, know what Hythloday should tell you? Because Hythloday conceded the argument that a box full of ball bearings will push two checkers together in a gravitational kind of way. So maybe he ought to explain that to you, cunt. So don't use Hythloday's names, because Hythloday is as big a hypocrite and bullshitter as you are, in the sense that he's made arguments and he won't make them to you. He'll make them to me, but he won't make them to you, which is just bullshit. And fuck you. I know more about physical science than you do. I bet I could make anything on this planet better than you. Anything. I could build anything better than you. You asshole. Fucking asshole.
Situation. He doesn't get it at all. He doesn't understand the processing that's going on to get something like an image, a light image into the brain.
Oh, bullshit, I don't. Okay, so this is the drawing, okay? So I won't get the other one. It's bigger and it'll probably be better. But look, I said right in my video, right? He sits there and points this out. Well, the light bounces 3 times and this light bounces 2 times. I pointed all that out in my video. I'm quite aware of the fact of these angles. The argument I'm making is the whole tube would fill with light, all right? And why the cutoff on the angles that you can perceive? See, it's not like this focus changes. So the light that's going here, more forward, and then bounces, say, here, and then has a focus someplace else, I don't know, here, you can't find that focus. There is none. It doesn't exist. So there is no light that's bouncing some other trajectories that you can obtain. The other argument I'd make is this angle that the light comes in at is kind of not accurate, because what I actually did was take the tube and pull the end of it off. So this is what we're talking about. Alright? And so the point is those are, like the first image, the images are reversed. So this is correct. Okay, because every image is reversed, and this image goes around the whole circle, and then this angle goes around the whole circle. Well, I mean, these are the ones you're seeing. They're just these last reflections. So this reflection, and this reflection. So you're seeing ring 1, ring 2, ring 3. Now that spacing doesn't look right to me. So, but whatever. the spacing looks like it gets gradually larger as you go further out, which that certainly doesn't look like. But again, I'm just saying, and so what I did was I took this cap off, so you can see that's like it's a half-inch cap, and I turned it around. So then the light, so then there's essentially another, so the light can't come in at these angles. It does have to sort of come in straight. So the very fact that the light spreads enough to hit this first angle is quite curious. And the fact that no matter how far I go away, I can't unfocus that first ring. I can't get rid of it. It never falls out of focus. So no matter how far away I go, it's never out of focus. It's always there. So, I mean, there's still some questions here. You want to say that this is, oh no, only an idiot couldn't understand that the dark spaces are just some sort of, well, you know, the light can only be this big. Now the other thing to observe is, notice that all the rings are the same diameter as the hole. Alright? So that also is a giveaway of something. Right? So it's like the entire light from the hole is being reflected, and that's all you're getting, are just images of the hole being projected. So it's not like it's, you know, and so why would the hole only emit light at certain positions here and not throughout the whole tube? Why wouldn't it just light up the whole tube? Why is the hole's image just one image being pushed through? That doesn't make any sense to me. So again, it just comes down to these angles that you can see. And why would they only be angles that are the same size as the hole? Why are the angles the same? Why are these? Why is this angle only as big? Like this thickness of this line. Why is the thickness of this line only as big as the hole? So anyway, so I'm just saying there's more to the story. That isn't a complete answer. Because again, I can't change this focus at all. So this point P is not a focus. The focus moves. So that doesn't even make sense as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. So yeah, something else is going on. Something more. There's more to that story, in my opinion. But again, the article didn't even deal with the fact that the light you see is just the size of this hole. And again, the point I'm making is even if I shield this, so light can't come in at angles, it can only come in fairly, at a pretty narrow angle. Yeah. More to the story, I think. But regardless, it's just this whole fucking patronizing attitude of this asshole. So he doesn't deal with the relativity subject.
There's where things bounce, right? So here's the light. Here's an angle where it bounces straight to point P. So this angle over here.
Yeah, so he's just doing, like I said, I said right in my video, it bounces once, it reflects, and then it bounces twice, and then it bounces 3 times. What do I need this bullshit for? Fucking asshole.
There is light coming from the dark bands, it's just not hitting your eye, right? So imagine...
So there is light coming from the dark bands, it's just not hitting your eye. Well, that's my argument. If that were true, then if I move... all I should have to do is move my eye back, and there should be a new focus for that light. And what I'm saying is there's no focus. You can't make the dark bands light.
And if right here, the light coming really steep down.
Well, like I said, it can't be really steep because when I hooded it, okay, so there's no really steep. It can only be like, well, this angle will still make it, almost. I don't know. I put even a piece of black tape over it, so I made it about 1 inch longer actually. So, you know, just to try to cut those angles down, and I didn't hurt the pattern any.
Bounce up, ding, 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 and the bounce is all. When it hits here, it goes ding down. Here, ding, and it never hits the eye. It hits your chin.
Right, so then I should be able to just move my eye back and I should be able to have it hit my eye, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't matter how far away I move. It doesn't, the dark bands never get realized. Just doesn't happen. See that little white one in the middle? It still stays exactly, I mean, it gets smaller with the distance. You know, maybe if that's a way of saying it's in a different position. That's a tricky question, I suppose. I mean, it's changing its position in the sense that it's getting smaller, but I don't think that's quite the same. I don't think. There's no light coming. You can say for certain that one thing that doesn't happen is the dark ring around the middle little hole. Wow, there's two of them now. Ah, it's some kind of magic. Maybe it's a defect in my eye. Well, anyway. The light from the middle hole, I mean, obviously the dark ring next to the middle hole doesn't get white, so I mean, that certainly doesn't change. So it doesn't matter where I move this focus, that doesn't change. So, I think there's more to explain.
So you don't see that light, so it looks dark there, because none of the light from there is going to where you put your eye. If you move your eye over there, the rings will seem to move up and down the tube. But really, it's just because there's a limited...
Yeah, well, I'm just saying they don't move up and down the tube. They stay exactly the same, and all they do is get smaller. But I'm just saying light, dark, light, dark. The dark band doesn't move to a different location like in phase shifts and other light patterns. I mean, you know, when you do it with lasers or something, you can change the center from dark to white to dark to light to dark to light. There's no changing of the center or the dark rings.
The number of places that are geometrically set up for the light to hit your eye has nothing to do with interference or anything of the sort.
Well, I'm saying it has something to do with something else. There's more to the story. Because it's certainly not a focal point problem, so there's something else going on. But whatever. I'll think on it some more. Not really part of my physics theory, the light tube. So I'd rather you do a relativity video and explain again how the light goes perpendicular in the spaceship traveling half the speed of light. How you shoot perpendicular light under that circumstance. I'd still love to see your relativity explanation for how the light goes through the hole, and how the light that went through the hole isn't now, if it does go through the hole, how it isn't moving faster than the speed of light. Okay. Yeah, I made it. I think. Mostly. I think there was some other comments on the fucking stupid cunt video. Yeah, this idiot. Alright, the burner proof is on you. Hi, ironic. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. Okay, yeah, so I read all those. I mean, just to defend them, you know. It's just idiotic. You know, to defend, like I said, something so pre-censorship, you can't even hear the theory? I mean, and you're going to defend that? You don't even give them a chance to say reptilian? You just forget it. We don't even want to hear it. We only do, you know, what we believe. And we don't accept anyone challenging what we believe. And that's the brave physicists. Yeah. And again, anyone who wants to argue with me, I'm up for it, okay? So if you think I'm afraid of your arguments, I'm just saying get somebody who has the balls, okay, to do a live room. And I'll take on anybody. Anybody willing to show up and make a rational argument. I mean, I'm not going to... The room will last 5 minutes if all I'm going to hear about is some wacky bullshit. You know, so you actually have to make some kind of rational argument citing some sort of reasonable evidence. So anyway. But these other pussies ain't willing. Anyway. So, until next time. I mean, this guy is just so, he is so fucking stupid, this Ken guy. I mean, he makes a video where he says, there's no such thing as gravity. There's no such thing as magnetic attraction. It's just stupid to say it. I mean, okay, you don't like the word or something? I mean, I don't know why would you, it's just stupid. And then he uses an argument about magnetism and compares it to, and it doesn't get it right. I mean, NASA has some kind of simulation of two neutron stars spinning around each other, and it creates the gamma ray emission, and it's sort of hyperboloids a little bit, which is funny. He doesn't even mention the hyperboloiding. But, it's about the whole orbiting thing, and obviously NASA's simulation is dependent on two things moving extremely fast. All right, and yes, of course they can't hit each other because they're going so fast, and then they can get caught in a, which will be eventually a fatal orbit. But, most things, if they come at each other from a distance, they will crash right into each other. And he's almost claiming like they won't. And he's sitting there using this as a magnetic argument that somehow two magnets, won't just go directly right into each other. Of course they will, if they're oppositely positioned. It's just, I don't know why he argues this stuff. It's just stupid. No such thing as gravity. No such thing as light. It's perturbation. I mean, who cares what you want to call it? It's called light, jackass. Get used to that. At least be able to use the word. You want to recontextualize the word? Okay, but there's no point in saying there's no such thing as, acceleration towards each other. Clearly, magnets accelerate towards each other. I would agree there's no such thing as an attractive force. They're actually being pushed into each other. But, none of you fucktards can catch on. That's just too obvious. Push force? What do you mean push? That's too complicated. Pull is so easy. Yeah. It's idiotic. Alright, now I'm done, I think. This goes on and on. The horror.